Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 of creating an OnlyUp game in Bonfire. OnlyUp is a trending 3D platformer where your mission is to climb to the top and avoid falling. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, be sure to check out the links below. Before we dive into the tutorial, I want to mention that this game also requires a sci-fi asset pack. Let's go over the asset config, check the low poly space assets, click download, and wait for it to complete. Great. You should now see the new space and sci-fi assets in the Sparks and low poly folders. Let's get started. After the goat stage of the map, players will encounter floating vegetables. By now, you should have a good idea of how to replicate this. I'll time-lapse the process of adding them. Next up is the meat elevator. As you can see, it moves up and down. Like the goats, this is all about behaviors. Let's find the meat spark in the Sparks, low poly, village, and food folder. Now simply drag and drop it into the map explorer. It looks like the steak spark is too small, so let's resize it a bit. Perfect. Now the meat spark is all set up, let's move it up and down. To do this, select the spark, and in the Traits tab on the right, you'll see an altitude trait. This determines its vertical position. By changing this value, we can adjust the vertical position of the spark. To automate this, select the meat spark, go to the Behaviors tab on the left side of the window, navigate to Effects, then Move, and hit the plus sign to add the effect. We want the spark to move up. Let's set it to 5 points above. Simply enter the value 5 in the altitude box and change the move type to relative. This will make the spark move up 5 points from its current position. Now that the spark goes up, we need a behavior to bring it back down. Copy and paste the node, set the altitude value to -5, and ensure the move type is set to relative. To create a loop, connect the endpoint of the upward movement behavior to the start point of the downward movement behavior. This means that once the upward movement is complete, it will trigger the downward movement. Let's hit play to test it. You might notice that it doesn't do anything. That's because there's no trigger for this behavior. To test while in play mode, go to Modifiers in the Behavior tab. Select Debug, hit the plus sign, and connect it to the behavior. While in play mode, click the trigger button to start the loop. Perfect. Now, let's reposition this after the floating vegetables. To make the loop start automatically, we'll use an Chapter Started modifier. This means that when the chapter starts, it will trigger the loop. Let's hit play and see the magic happen. But wait, we have a problem. The meat elevator movement is quite fast. To fix this, let's add a 1-second delay to make it stop for a brief moment. I'll go ahead and connect each behavior to the delay and make the loop work again. Now, let's hit play and test it out. Awesome! We're done with the meat elevator stage. In the Bonfire OnlyUp game, there are 2 meat elevators, so be sure to add the second one accordingly. Hey there! A quick reminder, always make your changes when play mode is off. Any changes made while play mode is on will not be saved. Let's go back to the tutorial. Moving on to the orange boulders, it's pretty much the same process. Now, let's add the orange, select it, and increase its scale. This process is similar to the meat elevator, but this time we'll be changing the X and Y positions instead of the altitude. Go to the Behavior tab and add the Move effect. The movement of your boulders should vary based on where you want them to go. I'll set mine to relative and move 10 points along the X-axis to shift it sideways. Then, copy the behavior and set it to -10 points to move it back in the opposite direction. Let's connect them and make sure to add a delay to make it possible to dodge. Now, let's hit play and test it out. Great! Let's combine it to our game. I'll fast forward and arrange the orange boulders and connect them to the Chapter Started modifier. That's it. I think we're good to go. Let's hit play and test our meat elevator and orange boulders. Great! I hope you learned the basic function of the move effect in this tutorial. In the next video, we'll explore more behaviors, such as interacting with a spark to move another spark, displaying dialogue upon interaction, and teleporting the player to specific positions. See you in the next video. Bye.